The space station called Lyria Prime was always quiet in the early hours. Long silver halls stayed empty, lights hummed softly, and most people were still asleep. Only one man was awake. His name was Elias Ward. He was a human, and he was the janitor. Elias pushed his cleaning cart slowly across the school wing. His uniform was old, his gloves were thin, and his boots made no sound on the floor. No one ever looked at him twice. On Lyria Prime, janitors were invisible. The school was built for many species. Tall doors for giants, soft lights for light-sensitive eyes, warm floors for cold-blooded students. Humans had designed the station long ago. But now they held the lowest jobs. Elias did not complain. He worked, he cleaned, and he stayed silent. As he wiped a wall panel, he noticed something strange. A small figure stood at the far end of the corridor. A child. She was not human. Her skin shimmered faintly. Like soft glass under water, she looked lost. Standing alone where children were not allowed at this hour, Elias frowned. Children were always supervised here. Always. He pushed his cart aside and walked slowly toward her. He did not want to scare her. "Hey," he said softly. "You shouldn't be here alone." The child did not move. She stared at him with wide eyes. Her chest moved fast, like she was struggling to breathe. Then Elias saw it. Her skin began to change color. At first, it was a faint ripple. Then thin lines appeared beneath the surface. Moving, pulsing, almost like symbols, Elias froze. He had seen something like this before. Not here, not on this station, but long ago. During the fall of a human colony, back then. The warning signs were ignored. People trusted machines instead of instinct. And millions died. The child suddenly stumbled. Her knees bent. She was about to fall, without thinking. Elias stepped forward. He reached out. Just to steady her, just to help. His gloved hand touched her arm. The moment his skin made contact, the symbols flared bright. A sharp pulse ran through her body. An alarm screamed through the hallway. Red lights exploded across the ceiling. Security drones dropped from hidden panels. Voices echoed from every direction. Unauthorized contact. Step back. Hands on the floor. Elias staggered away, shock written across his face. He raised his hands slowly, his heart pounding. "I was just helping," he said. She was falling. The child screamed, not in pain, but in fear. Security officers rushed in, weapons raised. They did not look at the child. They looked only at Elias. "He touched her," one officer shouted. A human touched her skin before Elias could speak. He was slammed to the floor, cold metal cuffs locked around his wrists. His face pressed against the smooth station tiles. "Please," Elias said, his voice shaking. "Check the child. Something is wrong." No one listened. Medical staff rushed to the girl. Surrounding her, blocking Elias's view. Screens flickered, scanners beeped. Confused voices filled the hall. "She's reacting. That's impossible. There's no external threat detected." Elias strained his neck, trying to see her face, through the crowd. He caught one last glimpse. The child was looking at him, not with fear, but with something else. Trust. Her small hand reached out, shaking, pointing, not at the officers, not at the doctors, but at him. Then she collapsed. Gasps filled the corridor. The alarms shifted tone, growing louder, more urgent. "What did you do?" An officer yelled, grabbing Elias by the collar. "You hurt her." Elias shook his head, panic flooding his chest. "No," he said. "She was already changing. She was warning us." The officer laughed harshly. "A janitor doesn't know more than station systems." Elias was dragged down the hall. His cleaning cart left behind. His badge was ripped from his uniform. His name erased from the wall display. As the doors closed behind him, the station returned to quiet. But something deep within Lyria Prime had already awakened. Hidden signals moved through old channels. Defense systems stirred from sleep, and far beyond the station's shield. Something answered the call. Elias sat alone in a holding cell. Staring at his shaking hands, he whispered the words no one wanted to hear. That wasn't fear. That was a warning, and this time, if they ignored it, there would be no second chance. Elias Ward spent 3 days in a holding cell. The room was small, cold, and white. The lights never turned off. No one explained anything to him. No one asked what he saw. No one asked why the child reacted. They only watched him. Guards came and went. They spoke in low voices outside the door. Whenever Elias tried to speak, they ignored him on the 4th day. The trial began. It was not held in a court. It was held in a meeting chamber. Cold faces, clean uniforms, glowing screens. Elias stood alone in the center, still wearing his janitor clothes. Still marked as guilty before a word was spoken, a station official read the charge. Unauthorized physical contact with a protected alien minor. The words echoed through the chamber. Elias opened his mouth. She was collapsing, he said. I saw a reaction on her skin. It was a warning sign. Murmurs spread through the room. Some laughed quietly. Others shook their heads. One official leaned forward. You are a janitor, he said calmly. Our systems detected no threat. Elias clenched his fists. Systems missed it before, he said. They always do. That was the moment everything ended. The verdict came fast. No investigation, no review. Elias was fired. Banned from the school sector, stripped of station residency. His access chip was deactivated, his name removed from station records. His existence reduced to a warning label. Security escorted him to the lower docks, where unwanted people were sent away. As he walked, eyes followed him, some with anger, some with fear. Screens above the halls played the story. Human janitor removed for illegal contact. The headline burned into the station's memory. Elias lowered his head. He had seen this before. Fear always needed a target. He was loaded onto a supply shuttle. No destination given. Just away, the shuttle detached. Lyria Prime shrank into the distance, bright and uncaring. Hours later, Elias was dropped at an outer maintenance ring. A forgotten place, used only by machines and ghosts. He found shelter near an old power relay, wrapped himself in a torn thermal sheet, and finally let himself breathe. That was when the memory returned. Not the arrest, not the trial, but the child's skin. The way the symbols moved, the rhythm of the pulse, the timing. Elias sat up slowly, his heart beating faster. He whispered, I've seen this, years ago, on a human colony called Greyfall. Children had shown similar signs, subtle changes, ignored by sensors. The warnings were logged, then dismissed. The attack came 6 hours later. Greyfall burned, millions died. Elias had survived because he listened, because he trusted human instinct over silent machines. Now it was happening again. He searched his old datapad, a device too outdated for station networks, but still useful. He pulled up archived human research, old threat response studies, buried and forgotten. The match was clear, too clear. The child on Lyria Prime had not been afraid of him. She had been afraid of what was coming. Elias felt cold spread through his chest. If the station ignored this, they would all pay the price. As if answering his thought, the power relay beside him flickered. A low vibration moved through the metal floor. Deep, slow, unnatural. Elias froze, listening. Far beyond the station's shield, something massive shifted. Old signals awakened. Long silent channels whispered to life on Lyria Prime. Defense systems adjusted without command. Sensors recalibrated. Logs rewrote themselves. And in a medical wing, an alien child opened her eyes. Her skin pulsing once more, Elias stood in the dark. Knowing the truth no one wanted, they did not fire him because he was wrong. They fired him because he was human. And humans noticed danger before it arrived. Elias did not sleep that night. The vibration under the station stayed in his bones. Slow, deep, patient, he sat beside the old power relay, watching the lights flicker, listening to sounds no one else noticed. Machines spoke when people did not listen. He opened his datapad again, scrolling through human archives. Old files marked useless, outdated, ignored. Human systems were simple. They were built around instinct, around pattern recognition, around survival. Elias replayed the memory of the child's skin, the pulse, the rhythm, and he saw it clearly. The symbols were not random. They were signals. A biological alarm? Some alien species could sense danger before technology could. Not with machines, but with their bodies. The child species reacted to massive energy shifts. Not attacks, but intentions. Elias swallowed hard. That means the threat hasn't arrived yet, he whispered. But it's already decided. He searched deeper. Cross-matching human disaster records, comparing timelines. The pattern repeated again and again. First the child reacted. Then systems failed, then silence, and then extinction. Elias leaned back against the cold metal wall. If Lyria Prime ignored this, the station would never see the attack coming. On the main station above him, a meeting was already happening. Officials stood around a glowing table. Medical scans floated in the air, confusing and incomplete. The child shows elevated stress markers, one doctor said, but no threat detected. Then the human caused it, another replied. Humans are unpredictable. No one mentioned the data gaps. No one mentioned the timing. Meanwhile, in the medical wing, the child lay still, eyes open, unfocused. Her skin pulsed again. Once, twice, monitors beeped. Numbers spiked, then vanished, back in the maintenance ring. Elias felt it too, a sudden pressure, like the station holding its breath. He stood up quickly, looking toward the distant hull. Something just locked onto us, he said softly. His datapad chimed, an alert from an old human warning protocol. One no alien system still used. Signal confirmed, intent detected. Elias's blood ran cold. He activated a hidden transmitter, a narrow-band signal humans once used in emergencies. Too weak for modern systems to notice. He sent the data, not to officials, not to command, but to the station's forgotten core, the place where old human code still slept. Deep inside Lyria Prime, something stirred. Defense systems shifted priority. Power rerouted quietly. Logs adjusted themselves. No alarms, no announcements, just preparation. Elias exhaled slowly. This is what humans do, he said. We prepare when others debate, but time was running out. Above him, in the school wing, lights flickered. Children paused in their lessons, feeling uneasy without knowing why. The alien child sat upright suddenly, eyes clear now, focused. She whispered a single word in her native tongue, a word the translator struggled with. The closest meaning was simple, coming, across the station. Old sensors picked up a shadow, barely there, barely real. Too large to measure, too quiet to track. Elias felt a thin smile form on his tired face. They still don't see it, he said. He turned back to the relay, hands moving fast, activating safeguards no one remembered. If the station would not listen to him, then it would listen to its past. Because humanity did not survive by being loud, it survived by noticing the small things. And the smallest warning had already been given. The first failure happened without warning. One classroom lost power, then another. Lights dimmed across the school wing. Teachers paused mid-sentence. Students grew quiet. On the command deck, officers looked up from their screens. Readings began to drift. Nothing alarming, nothing clear. Minor fluctuation, one technician said. Probably maintenance lag. Then the child screamed. In the medical wing, alarms exploded. Doctors rushed to her side. Her skin glowed brighter than before. The symbols were no longer faint. They burned across her arms and neck, sharp and fast. "She's reacting again," a doctor shouted. But there's still no threat signature. At that moment, the station shook, not violently. Just enough to be felt. Every being on Lyria Prime froze. In the lower maintenance ring, Elias grabbed the railing. His datapad flashed red. Multiple intents confirmed. "Too soon," he whispered. "They're probing us," on the command deck. A new alert appeared. Faint, distorted, almost invisible. "Unknown mass near outer perimeter," a voice said slowly. "Reading is unstable. Probably sensor error," an official replied. "Reset and continue." The reset never completed. The shadow moved closer, still hidden, still silent. Defense systems hesitated, waiting for confirmation that never came. In the medical wing, the child sat upright. Her eyes locked on the ceiling. Her breathing steady now. She spoke calmly. "They see us." The translator lagged, then displayed the words. Fear spread through the room. Back in the command chamber, data streams began rewriting themselves. Old human code pushing through modern layers. "What's happening to our systems?" someone shouted. Screens shifted, priorities changed, defense protocols activated. Without authorization, without permission. "Who triggered this?" an officer demanded. A name appeared on the main display, long deleted, long ignored. Elias Ward, human janitor. Silence crushed the room. "That's impossible," an official said. He was expelled. At that moment, a direct feed opened. Elias's image filled the chamber, dusty, tired, determined. "You ignored the warning," Elias said calmly. "But you can still survive." "How did you access the core?" someone yelled. Elias did not answer that question. He pointed instead. "Look at the timing," he said. The child reacted before every system failure. "She was never afraid of me. She was afraid for you," as if on cue. The station shook harder this time. Not a test, not a glitch. An explosion of light flared against the shields. The shadow finally visible, massive, deliberate, alive. Gasps filled the command deck. "They were hiding inside our blind zone," a technician whispered. Elias's voice remained steady. "Humans call this a listening attack. They don't strike first. They wait to see if you notice." Weapons powered up automatically. Shields thickened, evacuation routes unlocked. The station responded like a living thing. Old instincts awakened. In the medical wing, the child relaxed. Her skin dimmed slowly, the symbols fading. She looked at the ceiling one last time and smiled. "They know now," she said. On the command deck, no one spoke. They watched the data align. Every piece matching Elias's warning. Pride collapsed in the face of truth. "You were right," an official said quietly. "We should have listened." Elias nodded once. "Next time," he replied. "Don't wait for machines to tell you fear is real." Outside the station, the hidden enemy pulled back. Its test complete, Lyria Prime still stood. Because one human noticed what others ignored, and the truth could no longer be buried. The silence after the retreat felt heavier than the attack. Lyria Prime floated safely once more. Lights steadied, systems cooled. On the command deck, officials stood still. No one rushed to speak. No one looked away from the data. The truth was clear now. Every warning had matched the human janitor's words. Every reaction of the child had come before the machines. Every delay had nearly cost them everything. An official cleared his throat. "Locate Elias Ward," he said quietly. In the lower maintenance ring, Elias powered down the relay. His hands finally stopped shaking. Security arrived, not with weapons raised, but with lowered heads. "You're requested on the command deck," an officer said. Immediately, Elias nodded. He followed without resistance. When he entered the chamber, every conversation stopped. Screens showed the failed enemy probe, the adjusted defenses, the human protocols now active across the station. An official stepped forward. "We were wrong," she said. "We judged you by your role." Elias did not smile. He did not gloat. "You judged humanity the same way," he replied. The chamber stayed silent. Moments later, the medical doors opened. The child walked in slowly, supported by a doctor. Her skin was calm now, clear, peaceful. She looked around the room, then walked straight to Elias. Without fear, without hesitation, she took his hand. A soft murmur spread through the chamber. He listened, the child said simply. When no one else did, something shifted in the room. Not in the systems, but in the people. The station council made its decision that day. Human intuition was no longer classified as unreliable. Old human warning systems were restored. Humans were added to threat response leadership. Elias was offered a command position. A title, authority. He refused the title. "Give humans a voice," he said. "That's enough," the council agreed. News spread quickly across Lyria Prime. Then across nearby systems, the story changed. Not about a janitor who touched a child, but about a human who noticed danger before it arrived. Weeks later, the school corridors were quiet again. Elias walked them once more, not as a janitor, but as an advisor. Students greeted him, not with fear, but with respect. The child waved when she saw him. Her warning fulfilled, her role complete. Far beyond the station, the hidden enemy watched from the dark, learning a lesson it would not forget. Humans were not loud, they were not flashy. They were not perfect, but they survived, because they noticed what others ignored. And when the universe whispered danger, a human listened.